Welcome to Scanning the Industry. I'm your host, Dave Foy, and joined by my guest, Andy Guelcher, dealer principal of Mohawk Chevrolet, who has led a wildly successful mockumentary series, The Dealership, which I'm sure you all have seen pieces of, and serves as the chair of the Chevrolet Dealer Council. Andy, welcome to Scanning the Industry.
Thanks, Dave.
Right. For everybody out there watching, today we're going to talk about turning your views into visits. You've heard me say before that AI and training shorten the path from interest to action in fixed ops. If you give the advisor the right training, the right tools, a curious customer turns into a paying customer a lot faster. Social media is not any different. A like, a share, a view is just interest. For it to turn into an RO or a showroom appointment, you need processes in place, clear calls to action, frictionless scheduling, fast follow-up from advisors and salespeople, and a system that ties engagement back to the service lane in the showroom. Otherwise, it's all just noise. The number one mistake that I see stores make is they treat social as entertainment instead of enablement, and they chase vanity metrics like likes, follows, and flashy posts, but they don't connect the dots that turn a post into actual appointments in either sales or service. And so first thing I want to get into, Andy, is when you were thinking about, actually, let's get into how did you even come up with the idea to do the mockumentary?
So we give our teams a pretty fair amount of poetic license, and to say that I came up with the idea is a stretch. The team came to me and said, "Hey, this is what we're thinking about doing." I told them to run with it, and we had Grace and Ben at the time, and they did a tremendous job, developing this series and kind of doing it around the day-to-day interactions of what goes on at the dealership, what goes on in the different departments, and some stuff externally as well, and just kind of making it really funny and making it really connect with customers. So that was how the idea kind of spawned, but I certainly cannot take any credit for it.
Well, that's being humble is part of being a great leader. So we'll take you at your word on that. So what was one moment that proved to you that it was working? Whether that was more resumes coming in, people wanting to work with you, or customers maybe coming in and quoting some of the episodes they've seen?
Yeah, we really combed through a lot of the comments, and we were trying to, in a backwards way, track attribution a little bit by saying, okay, this person engaged with the post. Did they engage in our service lane or in the showroom? And that proved fairly laborious to do. But we found some attribution from that. And we had previously, prior to this series, done some viral posts that were in the millions on like one-off things that we had done, and really kind of understood the value of that as it relates to organic search value and things like that, to really engage our regional type audience, and in some cases national. We have sold vehicles all over the country from the episodes. That's a real thing. People have engaged with us, and then, like you said, with the sales appointment, that fast follow up to, hey, how can we help you with that new Silverado, or how can we help you with that new Tahoe? And it worked. So San Diego, Texas, South Dakota, just three off the top of my head, where we delivered cars to people that engaged with the episode and were willing to do business with us because of that. So it was pretty wild.
That is it is crazy. What was there? Was there something that led you to go away from traditional, if you will, in air quotes, media, into this
Yeah.
more TikTok style?
So we're very much engaged with traditional media. There's no question about that. We did this, in the beginning, it was as an ancillary form of media that we could use to kind of have some fun, get employees engaged, get customers engaged, and really try to set ourselves apart, which is exactly what it did. So when you kind of mix this with the traditional media, it makes the traditional that much more powerful, because your name recognition is very, very strong in the marketplace, whether it's on a regional or, in our case, a national level. So that has really helped. And that's one of the lessons we learned throughout this is, if you're good at one, the other gets better. So that was very interesting. That was a good lesson for us.
Yeah, that is a good lesson, that it wasn't a complete abandonment of traditional, right? It was more of an enhancement to what you'd been
Exactly.
doing in the past.
Yeah.
So Andy, let's spill the secret sauce here, just between you and me, nobody else around. Uh, Walk us through the weekly cycle from idea to filming to the posting. Who's approving it, and how do you avoid over polishing that and losing the real feel that campaign has?
Yeah, and that, Dave, you said it. That's the key, is over polishing, and over polishing happens when you get too many people involved in that approval process. Right? They have to have poetic license to be able to do this stuff, and the dealer and the GMs and whoever is over top of this has to understand that every post is not going to be viral. Everyone's not going to be a smash hit. They just have to keep making content. And I think one of the things that we learned early on was by giving them the ability to do that, a lot of their stuff worked better because we didn't meddle with them. So we let the players play, right? And they're very, very good. We have, since a new team, Grace has gone on and joined the team at General Motors. And, we miss her. We love her. She's great. Bigger and better, well earned. But we have a new team that, has a little bit different take on things. But Ben is still here, and now we have a young woman named Ava, and they do a very, very, very good job. And as it relates to our search traffic organically in our search traffic through paid, excuse me, we have seen great market increases because we stay consistent with the content. So it's not necessarily, hey, we have to develop a smash hit and run that out for the next 10 years. No, you have to make relative humanized content that can be a beneficial, or I forget the word that you use, complementary rather, to our current media mix. And if you continue on a consistent path with that, you really, really get a big pickup. The biggest thing to being consistent and being able to be consistent, Dave, is getting your team involved. Service advisors, salespeople, your customer facing people are so important to getting the right runway out of this, and creating enough content where you don't have the same two or three people in it. So as they see viral videos, generally speaking, people want to get involved. They see a video that had 2 million views or 3 million views. That's pretty cool. So that causes a culture where, hey, I want to get involved, or maybe I could act a little bit, or how can I fit into this? And what we found is that our people getting involved gives us a lot more opportunities to create more content, which is more beneficial to our overall scheme, which then complements even further the traditional media we're doing.
That's amazing, and a great leadership lesson buried in there is get your people involved, right?
Yeah,
The whether it's for creating content or actually running the store, the team generally knows what's really needed, right? The leader's there to drive it forward, but the team knows, and they a lot of times have ideas that we as the leaders never think of because we're not there on the floor every single minute like they are.
100% correct.
All right. So that was some secret sauce. I'm going to ask for a little bit more of the secrets. What is your money CTA right now for getting somebody to go from your content into becoming a service RO or becoming an appointment in your showroom?
As general as this sounds, and I wish I could give you like a pinpointed, very specific, thorough answer, but it's humanizing it. It's really just making it about, this is a workplace just like anybody else's, and we go through the same stuff and have the same challenges and the same concerns, and sometimes we have a lot of fun, and it can be really cool and exciting. And I think our ability to humanize our content beyond the CTA, beyond the traditional offer, beyond the lease payment, beyond the buy three get one free, is really a game changer. And that's not a normal thing for dealers to do. We've become so grossly over focused on the offer for so many years because that's how we've been trained. That consumes a lot of dealer content. And I am not saying that's not important, because I believe there's a place for it, but you need to connect the two. You need to connect the offer with the humanization of the content, and that's where you can really have success. So my answer would be humanizing the content.
All right, and I love that answer, and it ties into my next question. With that being the answer, how do you attribute your sales um, to social without perfect data, right? Without that QR code that they scan, without carrying that coupon in that you can add an op code to the system for.
Yeah. So we're a very involved dealership in the community. We get involved in a lot of different projects. We get involved with a lot with different nonprofits. Two that come to mind are Make a Wish and Special Olympics, and our involvement in those. We'll take. I'll give you a recent example. The Special Olympics had a regional games in New York State. It was pretty close in proximity to the dealership. We took about 50 of our team members and volunteered at these games. I can attribute one sale directly from somebody who came into the store and said, I'm buying the car because you guys showed up for the Special Olympics. We show up for the Special Olympics all the time. So can I tell you how many people come in that don't mention that? We can't attribute it. Those types of experiences for our people as it relates to giving back to the community, and then them customers, consumers seeing them out there doing that, is another way to, I guess, practically, in a very real sense of the term, humanize it. So we kind of learned from that for doing that for years, and now just try to do it on social media while continuing to do stuff like that. So I think that you got to look at it as this kind of holistic system where if you are community involved, if you're doing ancillary stuff on social media, and you don't got to be the best at any of it, but you just have to do it. That's really the key. It's just get out there and do it, and you'll get great team building type things that will happen amongst your team and in your culture. But you will also sell cars and service cars because of it. You're never going to be able. Well, I shouldn't say never. In the near future, you probably won't be able to track the attribution for, but doing it benefits your team and ultimately will help you sell more vehicles. I stand behind that firmly.
Yeah, I completely agree there, and it's kind of like asking the question, how does your great culture, how do you attribute sales to having a great culture at your store, right? You can't do it, but you know that it does affect the way that the
Yes,
store runs and how customers are treated.
absolutely.
So what do you think changed at the store when you started doing this? Like, did you see more applicants coming in that wanted to work there, or um, customers that referenced maybe a piece that you did there, or anything like that? Was there anything that you could really say, wow, that changed after we started doing this stuff?
So again, to pinpoint something specific would be difficult, but I can tell you our performance. Over the past, we bought the store 5 years ago, and in 5 years, it was a challenge when we bought it. It wasn't one of the best performing stores around. And last year we won Dealer of the Year award for Chevrolet, which is the top 60 dealers in the nation, sales, service, customer satisfaction. We've grown 40% year over year in new car sales, just under that in used car sales. And I really think that once you build a culture that understands how to win, how to win the right, doing those little things by getting involved in the community, and that's a time commitment too. We ask our people for more time, and we're very, very respectful of our team's time. And we know sometimes you need a day off, sometimes you need a couple days off, and not everybody can make it to everything. So we don't hold them to this ridiculous standard. It's when you can help. What amazed me is when we put it in kind of that context to our team, the amount of people that showed up. We didn't make it mandatory. We didn't say you got to be there. No, it's hey, you can be there. But really, the big thing, Dave, is when your leaders show up, your people show up, and that was big for us. So I would say just the momentum of all this stuff has helped us become one of the larger dealers in the nation, from absolutely one of the smaller.
Yeah, that's amazing, and I think that's a great point of not making these things mandatory. It kind of takes the community out of community service when it's when it's mandatory, right? That you're
Yeah.
being voluntold to show up.
Yes, exactly.
So have you ever had to handle a post that backfired? Like what's that fire drill look like if that's happened to you?
Really, not that's backfired. You can catch some stray bullets, in the comments section sometimes, and you got to be careful. And my message to my team has always been that negative comments are fine if they're real and if they're true, because those are opportunities for us to get better. So if we really dropped the ball, if we did something wrong, if we disappointed a guest, if we upset, a customer in the service drive, then we need to look at it as, okay, we're fallible, we're human. We screwed up. How can we improve this so it doesn't happen again? And how can we try to correct this with the customer that this may or may not have happened to? So really no stray bullets from any posts, but really analyzing some of what could be construed as a negative comments, not ignoring or deleting them, but saying, hey, one, is this real? Which is sometimes a problem. There's a lot of fake stuff out there. And two, if it is real, how can we get better so this doesn't happen again? Or how can we improve the experience for this particular person that's upset that we can really move forward and give them a more positive experience, again, in the future? So we haven't really caught any strays from posts to answer your question.
All right. Well, that's a good thing, and I completely agree. When customers bring problems, my first response was always thank you, because
Yeah.
without knowing it, you can't fix it.
Can't do anything if you don't know about it. Absolutely agree with that. Yep.
Right. So, Andy, as the Chevrolet dealer council chair, what guardrails do you suggest for brand safety while still letting your stores be human and be natural about what you're filming and putting out for content?
I mean, most of it's common sense stuff. I don't think it's really, there's really no guardrails for it because this is still so new, and there's really no process or procedure. There's some light stuff out there in manuals and brand standard stuff, but as long as you're not asking for GM or Chevrolet in this case to participate in their, in advertising reimbursements and stuff, it's really up to you what you do. And I would say just take the first step for the dealers and the dealerships that aren't doing it. Just take the first step, and you will absolutely be blown away at how capable a lot of your people are in this space. This is, I'm not a young man anymore. I was quite a few years ago, but we have a lot of younger people that work in the stores that are extremely capable in this space, extremely creative, very funny, very talented, and are because of that very human. And I think if you take advantage of your team and try to give them the chance to shine, or let them shine, or let the players play, as I said before, you'll be surprised at what you already have in your service lane and in your showroom.
I think that's an important point there, and I think that's a point for a lot of leaders of stores that they grapple with, right? Like, if I let them get out there, I may lose them to somewhere, right? Like you lost someone important to your campaign to
Yeah, and
to the
you know what?
OEM.
I love when people say that because for the longest time, I started as a salesperson in this industry 23 years ago at a Honda store, and I had parents in corporate America, and they were very, very much people first managers, and that's how they led, and that's what taught me. And we encourage our team to interview. We encourage our team to put themselves out there. We'll never get upset with anybody if they think there's a better opportunity for themselves. If they can go better themselves, God bless you. This is not about being loyal till the day you die to us. If we can't give you that opportunity, then you need to go. And what happens because of that is people don't come in here. There's no fear. There's no fear because hey, oh man, there might be a better opportunity. It might be closer to my house. It might be an opportunity that we can't give them at the time. So macro level, to answer that question about social media, you cannot have a culture where there's fear because if you do, people are not going to take poetic license. People are not going to be creative. People are not going to put themselves out there. So you're not going to get organic, genuine content. It's going to be very, very filtered. And the result from that is going to be very, very minimal. So you really, really have to look at the dealer has to look at themselves in the mirror. The GM has to look at themselves in the mirror. Are people comfortable coming in here every day? Do they understand what we're doing? Do they understand the direction of the company? And do they understand that if there is a better opportunity for them outside of our company, we're not going to stand in their way. Furthermore, we'll shake their hand and wish them the best. That is so important, especially in today's day and age. And the sooner and there's a lot of dealers that understand. There's a lot of great dealers, certainly better than we are, that are
Yeah.
very, very good at this. But that is so important, getting organic, genuine content from a social or ancillary advertising standpoint. That has to be step one.
Yeah, and I think I think it's amazing, almost counterintuitive, that when you give them that freedom to do other things, how much more often they stay with you because you gave them the opportunity to go somewhere else if they thought it was better.
I think we've seen it from a long enough standpoint. It's not counterintuitive anymore to us. It used to be to this industry. It was counterintuitive, but people have so many options today, and there's so many things going on in the world. And the last thing that they need is for an employer to put their thumb on them and make them feel like they're stuck. They're not going to perform well. They're not going to flourish, and it's going to be poisonous to your culture. So I think that a lot of people understand that, and the people that don't, they're starting to see it. And I think you're starting to see a pretty big change out there. But yeah, that's the answer to that one.
Excellent. I love that. All right, Andy, we're coming to a close here, so we are going to move into the lightning round for you.
Okay.
Just a few simple one-line questions. Who should be your first hire as you start to get into this? A videographer, an editor, a strategist?
An editor. That is the lion's share of the work. You will shoot hours and hours and hours and hours of content, and edited correctly, it can make it a home run or it can make it a fielder's choice out at first. But if you have it edited correctly, it is going to be absolutely critical to the success of that department. So an editor is step one.
Yeah, editing is my son is a videographer slash editor, and it's amazing what a video looks like after he's filmed it compared to when it's edited together.
It's all the difference.
All right. One metric that you check weekly that's not a vanity metric.
As it relates to social media?
Yeah.
Page engagement.
Right.
Stacked against
Like
website.
Right. How about a post that you'll never do ever again?
Before Grace went to work for General Motors, she did a final video, and I have a couple bottles of whiskey in my office, and she was pretending to drink some whiskey in my office. And I came in, and on the video, she called me her favorite ginger dealer. It was funny. It was funny, but man, that shot, I took so much crap from so many people. They were blowing up oh, it's my favorite ginger dealer. So I probably wouldn't want to deal with that again. It was really funny, but I wouldn't do that again.
That's a clip in the making right there. I promise you that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite comment to conversion tactic?
Customers that are specifically engaging, and that's a loose term, specific. I know that's counterintuitive, very much so, but on inventory, car questions. Hey, do you have any new Tahoes? Boy, that Z06 Corvette's awesome. Flipping those into our business development center, having them reach out and engage them based on that specific question. That's one of the tactics that we use that seems to work pretty well. Not a very high conversion rate, but better than most.
All right. How about one creator that you steal stuff from?
Oh my, we steal stuff from everybody. Everybody. All the best ideas are already out there. We've just taken them all and repurposed them. One creator specifically, um, who does a great job that we've borrowed some ideas from? Rob Hernandez and his team at Camino Real Chevrolet out in Los Angeles do a great job. So we've borrowed, and Rob, if you watch this, I'll apologize, but we've borrowed a few ideas from them. They do a really good job.
Oh, that's what it's all about, right? It has all been out there before, so we gotta find ways to repurpose and make it our own.
Yes, sir.
Andy, this has been a lot of fun. Any final thoughts for our viewers?
No, I would just say, Dave, I would say that if you're not doing this, or if you're doing this and it's the light version of this, I'd really commit some time and energy and effort to looking at how you could revamp this for your store, how you could get more involved in your community. That we didn't really get into, like the collaborations and stuff that we do, but there's so much going on in this space. And if you just pay a little bit of attention, you can really get a lot out of it. And it's still exceptionally inexpensive to get involved. So from an ROI standpoint, you can really get some good measurable results. And I would encourage dealers that aren't really focused on this to maybe take a second look and get refocused a little bit.
Excellent. I love it. Andy Guelcher, dealer principal, Mohawk Chevrolet, thank you so much for being with us here on Scanning the Industry.
Thanks, Dave. Enjoyed it.